Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So, topic here we are going to discuss it is the chemical properties of non-metals. So, as earlier we have learned about the non-metals. These are the elements in the periodic table that can easily gain the electrons and they form the anions. These are known as the non-metals. And on the other hand, we have also learned a lot of properties there. So now here we will discuss about their reactivity and their chemical properties and how do it get react with the other substances, whether it is more reactive or less reactive. Basically, the non-metals have their valence shells that are deficient of the electrons, so they can readily accept the electrons to complete their valence shells and in turn they become stables. So here you can see that, for example, here we have this metal like A, non-metal like A, and here we have electron. When we just adds up that electron, the non-metals can gain the electrons and changes into the negative ions. Now after it's this non-metal will gains the negative charge and this is the formation of simple anion. So the non-metals can easily or readily react with the substances that lose the electrons because it is having the property to gain the electrons to get the stability, and everything in this universe just move towards one thing to gain the stability. Likewise, the non-metals also want to gain the stability and they can only do this in one way by gaining one electron. Now here we have the compounds with the metals that non-metals can easily form. They make their compounds with the specific type of metals like the compound first one which is NaCl. It is consisting of two ions in which the sodium is having positive charge and the chlorine is having negative charge, and the name of this compound is sodium chloride. Basically, when these non-metals combines with the metals, they produce the specific type of compounds. These compounds are known as the ionic compounds, and the bond that exists between them, this bond is called as the ionic bond. And the next example for this we have potassium iodide. Its symbol is Ki. It consisting of two ions, the potassium positive and iodine negative, or iodide negative, which is named as potassium iodide. Then we have CaS, which is called as calcium sulfide, consisting of two ions, calcium positive and sulfur negative. Then we have the fourth one compound, which is cesium bromide, CsBr, in which cesium positive one and bromine negative one. Then we have magnesium oxide, in which the magnesium is metal and oxygen is non-metal. Magnesium carries positive 2 charge and oxygen carries negative 2 charge. Now, the part which is the positive and the negative. The positive part, or we can say that the cation part, is always from the metal, and the negative part, which is called as anion, it always comes from the side of the non-metal because the metals can lose the electrons and changes into the cations, and the non-metals can gain that electron and changes into the anions. Now force of attraction will be created between this cation and anion. In turn, they will form the compound, and that compound is known as basically the ionic compound. So this was a simple compounds of the non-metals with the metals. Now we will discuss about the reactivity of nonmetals with the water and dilute acids. When a nonmetal reacts with the water, there will be the no reaction. So in simple words, the nonmetals do not react with the water. This is its simple property. Nonmetals can only react with the metals. So we can have the type of reactions in which the nonmetals can react with the metals, and the second type is which in non-metals react with the other non-metals. Now these two types of reactions can be happened while we are talking about the non-metals. When non-metals react with the metals, the compounds are called ionic compounds are formed, that is comprising of the positive and negatively charged ions. On the other hand, when non-metals get react with the non-metals, they only share their electrons And by sharing of electrons, they will form the type of compound which is basically known as the covalent compounds. And a lot of covalent compounds around us we have. The first one example here we have carbon dioxide, it's CO2, in which carbon and oxygen both are non-metals and they make the compounds by sharing of electrons. And here we have its structure C double bond O and C double bond O. The second example for this we have it is nitrogen dioxide. We have the HCl in which both are non-metals and they are making up the compound which is called as covalent compound, and the bond that exists between them it is called as the covalent bond, the bond that is only formed by the sharing of the electrons between the atoms of an element. So this is a simple reactivity of the non-metals with water and dilute acid. They also do not get react with the dilute acids as well. So this is only due to the one reason, because non-metals are itself electron acceptor. Non-metals are electron acceptor, not the accept electrons loser. So that's why they do not get react with the dilute acids. The dilute acids we have like HCl, we have H2SO4 and acetic acid as well. At the end we have the reactivity trend of the different non-metals. That what is the basic trend of non-metals? So among all the nonmetals, where fluorine is more reactive as compared to the oxygen, then we have chlorine is more reactive as compared to the nitrogen. Nitrogen is more reactive than bromine. Bromine is more reactive than sulfur. Sulfur is more reactive than carbon. Carbon is more reactive than iodine, and iodine is more reactive than phosphorus. So this is a simple trend of reactivity of the non-metals. The fluorine give the more vigorous type of the reactions. Then the oxygen is also reactive to some extent with the metals, as it can make the oxides as well, and like magnesium oxide it can make the with metals like chlorine. It may form the different type of halides. Then nitrogen, it can make the oxides as well and different acids. The bromine is also a halogen, so it can make a lot of compounds. But the reactivity of fluorine of all among all the non-metals is higher. So this is why it is at the top order in all the non-metals. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope you guys understand. And if you have any queries, you may ask me about that in the comment section, and I will get back to you guys soon. The next topic that we will discuss it is the electronegative character of non-metals. For that time, you guys keep learning and have a good day.